Hi guys and welcome to Bomb Anime.
It's your girl Rika.
And Big Boy Sam here bringing you our final part of the Faraway paladin.
So, I've got some questions about my man Bishop Bagley because it's a lot in my opinion. I'm just saying, why should you have to think about the way you're using the blessing? If the god doesn't want you to use it, they should just be able to stop you from using it. Reinhardt in ReZero has a sword that refuses to be unsheathed if it deems the opponent unworthy. God could do that, right?
No, this is a different world, and so therefore they have different mechanisms for their god. This is a polytheism as opposed to the semi-monotheism look at ReZero, and the definite monotheism look at silly anime such as Platinum End. See, the monotheism and the polytheism animes have different concepts of God, and I have different looks at them too. Like this one, I can actually get behind their religion. It's actually alright.
Okay, well, obviously I was just being silly. Obviously we can't just cross-contaminate anime unless we're talking about who Goku can be. But really, what?
His name out of your mouth. You haven't watched Dragon Ball Z.
I watched the movie, so therefore...
Rika will be leaving in here in an ambulance. I'm sorry guys, this might be the end of Bomb Anime, but yeah, Rika.
Why are you always threatening me?
But,
no, okay, back on track. Does Bishop Bagley lack faith?
No.
Because...
Sorry, go on, because...
It's done! We came to a conclusion.
Alright, don't forget to like, subscribe. No, I'm kidding.
No, because he seems to be doing things in direct conflict with his religion. He's there saying that he can't use his blessing because he's forced to bribe. He's forced to do all these things. But if he just had a little bit of faith, wouldn't God just provide it all? He can't use his blessing because he's too busy out here in these streets. So if he came out of the streets, he'd be able to use his blessing and maybe his God would help him out a little bit more. I'm just saying maybe he lacks faith and that's why he's out here acting like a gangster.
To the untrained eye, that might be the case. No, I hear what you're saying, but then look at his actions. He has no faith, but he sent a novice out there with a bunch of people that are actually imperative. He sent his own right-hand daughter to the situation. Like,
no,
it's like
he's a good guy. He's a good bad guy. He's like a bad guy that's also a little bit of a good guy.
Well, all people are more than one thing, aren't they? Like, you can't just be pure evil or pure good, because then you get really rubbish characters that are 2D.
True.
So he's a well thought out character, and I believe he believes his own hype. So I believe he believes that he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when push came to shove and the people and someone came to him with something to do with helping the people, he provided.
Yeah.
When push came to shove, when Will came to him and was like, no, I am steadfast in what I got to do, he didn't question him. Because, you know, he knew, but he gave him the opportunity to back out. I think he believes his own hype, and I believe he is acting in accordance to what he believes his faith is.
However, does he lack faith though?
I don't think he does. I don't think he lacks it.
Because he's in the streets. Do I have to remind you in these streets?
How is that against his God?
Well, to be honest, we can't really answer that because I don't actually know what his God is the God of. I just know his God is Volt.
They didn't really explain Volt too much, so we don't.
Right, so I'm part being silly, part trying to figure this out. And then, of course, I kind of feel like the system they've got set up with the gods is a little bit inconvenient. What I know from ancient religions and ancient mythological religions and religions that have more than one god within its religion, you don't just stay with one. Now, in some, yes, you might have like a guardian god that you are dealing with most of the time, but you can pray to any of them and you can get support from any of them. If I'm throwing a lit party, I want the god of wine and debauchery. If I'm about to have a kid, I want the god of like maternity or whatever. If I'm about to die, I want the god of reincarnation or the underworld or whatever. But this one is really like rigid, like you pick one and you stick with one.
I don't know, I didn't get that from the anime. I got that everyone picks their one that they follow most, but they still respect the other ones. Because they always said the virtuous gods
Yeah,
and
they
the
did
non-virtuous
respect
ones.
them.
It felt more hardline like you're saying it is, but it felt like they acknowledged, yo, there's other gods out here, you get me?
But that's not what I'm saying. Obviously, I already noticed that, but I'm saying that they can't use the blessing of any of the other gods. Like, if we're going based off of, like, other religions that we know that are set up kind of similar to this one, you can still get blessings from any of the gods. You just have your main god that you're really, like, dealing with. Yeah, and then you can still, like, get help from the others, but this really feels like you can't get any help from any of the others. I felt like it was an interesting choice to do it that way, to see it work this way.
Yeah, it didn't do bad though, did it?
No,
it wasn't a terrible system.
I like
really
it, actually. I actually like the system that they've set up, and also I gave them a hard time of how boring some of the episodes were. I appreciate the knowledge that we got from those earlier episodes because it does reset it up really nicely, and I like it. It feels like I wouldn't mind playing this game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I wouldn't mind playing this game either. It's got very good RPG elements. I mean, the whole anime was a huge story. It wasn't, as I said, like, it would have been nice personally. Like, I think we spoke about this off air, where it would have been nice to see a little bit more fighting. But,
yeah, definitely.
But as a story, like, I could have easily read this. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been a good read or a good listen to if you're into audiobooks and whatever. So, you know, I think it was good personally in that sense. The story was solid. Will's character is a little bit lacking for me. Because for me, it felt like he went from extremes constantly. I mean, he started off on the I'm an isekai, and then you never really heard about it again. And then it went from, I feel ultimate despair. Okay, I'm okay now. I have to fight my friend. Like, me and my boys have arguments all the time. None of us are swinging at each other. Do you get what I mean? It just felt a bit weird. But I don't know. What did you get from it?
For me, it kind of felt like they have adapted this from its source material, and there's been a lot of things that are missing. Yeah. And so they've included what they think needs to be included, but it leaves the emotions to be quite disjointed. I mean, you saw Will, who was upset that he had put Menadel in harm's way, and then he switched from that to, I'm gonna attack him until I actually break his arm. Like, I'm actually going to not just totally humiliate him and tell him that, you know, you're kind of beneath me, you're rubbish, you can't even get hit off on me, but I'm actually gonna put you in the dirt and I'm gonna break your arm and walk and leave you and say, oh, go get healed. And then all of a sudden you're on the floor like, if I duck, the rocks will hit him. And it just seems really kind of crazy. This is from a light novel. I feel as if there's things missing, and that's why we're getting that kind of weird thing with Will's personality.
That fight though was a violation. the whole time watching it,
was it a fight?
I was like, raw, fam, that's deep. What you're doing here is kind of cold. Like, are you trying to break my spirit? Because
he was trying to break his soul.
that was bull. If my friend ever did that to me, I'm gonna tell you right now, we can't be friends.
We can't be friends. That's like, you tried to humiliate me. Like, that's just, no.
It would have been worse if it was in the village in front of everyone.
I know. At least it was in the woods.
I would have had to tell my mom we can't talk no more. It's over, in it. Nah, fam. Nah, no way. I like Bee's character, the bard. She was really, really fun. Like, she cut up the tension a lot, and she was greatly used in order to ease some of the despair, I guess, because there was a lot of harsh realities here. I mean, you had the adventurers who found their friends were dead. So obviously they see their guys have been killed by this chimera, and like seeing them laugh and joke about it and then pour the alcohol and, you know, the rights of the motley crew, it was quite nice. To be honest, the show showed a lot of lore that needed to be explored more, and I hope they do that if they get a season 2 or whatever. It was a really well put together insight into this world. When it came to world building, they smashed it, to be honest, in my opinion.
I have 2 thoughts about that. I feel like it wasn't as well put together as it could have been. Like, I feel like we're being really nice to this anime just because we liked the story, but it did have a lot of flaws, like you said. A lot of disjointedness with the switches of moods that just seem to go from one end to the other. And also, this is not a very serious anime. like a psychological thriller. It's not trying to get you to think a lot. It's just trying to build this world. They did just tell you a lot of the lore instead of explaining it properly, which did make a lot of the episodes quite boring. And I do feel like there's something missing that they didn't either adapt, or maybe they adapted it perfectly well and the source material is just as lacking. So I don't want to just pretend that this was like an amazing everything, because it wasn't.
I mean, I'll give it.
Then you had episode 7.5, which was literally there for no reason. It was just a recap.
I'll give this anime out of 10. Solid 6.5, pushing 7 sort of feel. It wasn't the greatest, but I did enjoy watching it. I thought it was a good watch. I mean, yes, you're right. There are holes there. There's clearly issues going on. I mean, it wasn't just Will's character that was flip-floppy. It was also Minno's character that was flip-floppy. Especially when we saw his ghost grandma mother figure, and he went from I'm going to kill everyone in the village to get some money to I'm going to be upright and standing.
Right.
And you know, it's weird. You've lived for 200 years, man. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, grow up. But
he's still a baby though. In elf years.
200 years is still 200 years.
Okay,
right?
But in anything that you've ever watched or played, right? Let's be honest. Are elves good people?
No.
Okay, elves are pretty trash in general. So, you know, it tracks.
They look good though. They look good. They look good. I mean, hold out to all the cosplayers who do elf ears and elf stuff. Well done. Like, you smashed the look. But elves are trash. elves are just trash.
But back on track. Do you think that when people start remembering Gracefeels, she'll actually start being able to speak? Do you think her lack of speech is actually to do with the fact that she's lost power because no one is out here remembering her, believing in her, praying to her? Do the gods lose their abilities through lack of the faith of the people and lack of their memories?
So, in the lore of Dungeons and Dragons, where most RPGs are born from, gods have powers based on who is talking about them, and it's either how many people are talking about them and praying to them and venerating them, or how intense the small amount of people are talking about them, are venerating them. So, for example, the bad gods don't have so many people praying to them, but they have sacrificial rituals that kind of put them on par with the good gods, where everyone's got a totem or a shrine or a necklace or something. So I'm guessing they're following that kind of law. And if that's the case, yes, I kind of feel like that's what will happen. As he spreads her word around, she will grow. I mean, they're just about to erect a shrine to her,
right,
which will help. And if we can get more priests for her, that will help. If more people are praying to Gracefeel, that will help. But then you also have to admit, Gracefeel is actually really powerful in the sense that she doesn't just span this world, she's across worlds, hence why we have Will, our main character, in the first place. So maybe she can only speak in this world if more people in this world talk to her, but in all the other worlds, maybe there are people just dedicated to Gracefeel and her analogues. Who knows? I
feel like that is pretty low, since she took Will from his world where they don't know about Gracefeel or how, like, his world seemed to be ours.
Yeah.
She wasn't even a thought. So I do truly think that the reason why she actually dragged someone out of another world was in order to have her last ditch attempt at survival as a god.
Well, you know, I mean, no one picks a champion and tells them that they're gonna go through a world of despair and then die for just the giggles, do they? She did it for herself. What god does stuff for someone else? Oh wait.
On that note, thank you so much for watching it to this point. If you did,
don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Peace.